consistently attract soulmate clients, begin showing up on brand, monetizing on your calling. Welcome all spiritual coaches, leaders, healers, light workers, and practitioners to a show that turns you on in your business and amplifies your magnetism. I'm host, catalyst, and spiritual business coach Rosalyn Fung, and I'm here to journey with you into the juicy and help you discover where the real gaps are. Ignite your mindset and soul with strategies and systems as each episode takes you to the sweet spot that activates your soulgasmic business. Enjoy this light language activation as we begin to magnetize and monetize.
A soulful relationship with money and in their own lives. Hello, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so honored to have you choose to listen to this show. If you enjoy this episode, please do leave a review. Take a screenshot of this podcast and shout me out on social media so that more people can know about this. On Instagram, it's Bold Sexy Warrior. And on Facebook, it's Rosalyn Fung, Coaching Bold Sexy Warrior. You know that it would mean the world to me for you to take a few minutes to share and review this, as I would love to spread more love and consciousness to the collective. Oh boy, I am also really excited to share an upcoming workshop I am hosting with my very own sexy silver fox and husband called Vision 2021 Money Manifesting Workshop on January 30th of 2021. 2020 was a hard year for a lot of people financially, mentally, emotionally, and physically. Lives were lost, the economy was impacted, businesses were shut down, and we had to distance ourselves from our loved ones. So Dan and I are inspired to share with you, whether you're single or in a relationship, how to start visioning your best financial year yet for 2021. This isn't going to be just any workshop. We are going to literally be guiding you through some exercises so you can clear away money blocks, learn to communicate with yourself and or your partner about money in a safe, sacred, and peaceful way. We are going to bring on guest speakers Janet Key, who will teach you about sacred money archetypes, and Jennifer Predator, who will be speaking to you about strategies to build your wealth. This workshop is going to be about bringing in the energetics of money, the psychology of money, sacred relationship, communication with money, and practical ways to build wealth. You will walk away with a better understanding of what gets in your way of manifesting more money, a clear path to having a sacred relationship with money so that you can confidently call in more money, how to communicate about money peacefully and intimately with yourself and your partner, and the power of knowing your sacred money archetypes, as well practical tips for building wealth that you can apply right away in your life. Early bird tickets are only $44.44 Canadian until January 8th, 2021. You can go to 2021 moneyvision.eventbrite.ca. The link will be in my bio on Instagram, Bold Sexy Warrior, as well as you'll see that in my Facebook posts. So without further ado, I want to welcome Dan, my sexy silver fox, my
hello.
husband of 14 and a half years. We've been together for 18 years. And this episode, which is our third, hey, hon, of Pleasure in the Bedroom and Bank, we are going to focus on the theme of taking lessons of 2020 to manifest an epic 2021 in relationships, body, finances, and business. So this is going to be raw, uncut, unscripted, and we're going to bring on the juiciness, right?
A little bit of fun. It's going to be, yeah.
So I'm not going to do a formal bio like I did in the first 2 episodes with Dan. I'm just going to invite you to share a little bit about yourself, honey.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'm a certified financial planner up here in Canada, 13 and a half years doing that. And it's interesting, the one term that you brought up in that introduction was a psychology of money. And, it's funny because I come from a family of psychologists. My mom was a psychologist, my dad had a psychology background, and my sister even took it in university. Then what did I decide to do? Well, I decided to become a financial planner, right? However, there is a lot of psychology when it comes to money, and it comes from your upbringing, your history, your own thoughts and beliefs about money, and how that impacts every aspect of your life and your relationship with your loved one.
Yes. And I don't know if you mentioned it. Sorry, honey, I wasn't listening.
Surprise.
Did you mention you also married a psychologist?
Yes, yeah, I married a psychologist who's, So I surrounded myself with psychologists, whether it was, on purpose or unconsciously. But
contracts. Yeah. So yes, those of you, I'm sure by now, if you've been listening to my podcast, you would know that I'm a former registered psychologist, and that I was first psychologist in my province to create an online program back in 2014, which really exploded my soul calling to grow bigger and move into the coaching world. So so I have a master's in marriage and family therapy, and works obviously with a lot of couples and families. Dan himself works with a lot of couples, and so we are bringing in our backgrounds, our gifts, our knowledge, and our education into pleasure in the bedroom and bed. And of course, we are all about practicing what we preach. It's not just theory. It's not just concepts. We literally embody.
We are walking the talk.
That's right. And so we must share with you that 2020, it was, despite COVID, it has been a freaking epic year for us.
It's been fantastic, not going to lie.
In every single way. So when we look at the life wheel, we are thinking about and trust me, this did not come without challenges of our own and personal struggles, right? It's like we are human. But really looking at the life areas of intimate relationship, community, family. So for us, that would be parenting, still work in progress for sure. Businesses, finances, contribution, health, spirituality. So these are the areas that we love to focus on. And with pleasure in the bedroom and bank, we really use the doorways of our own intimate relationship and money. And so how you do one part of your life is how you do all parts of your life. So these are the doorways that we choose to move into, because there's something called equifinity. All paths lead to one place.
I learned a new word today.
You've never heard me say that before?
I have not.
Oh, it's a psychology term.
There we go.
And so we want to share with you ways in how you can start to apply, think about, because the first thing in order to move into your goals is awareness of what is happening for you right now. That's right, I said for you and not to you, because everything is happening for and through us. When we believe that life is happening to us, that's victim mentality. And that keeps us locked in feeling powerless and helpless, and in negative emotions, right? And we feel stuck and frustrated. So instead of complaining or wondering why, we need to ask bigger questions. How is life working with me, for me, and through me right now? And so our intention today is to really help you start to feel into your vision for 2021, understand what didn't work. As you're listening to our own stories, hopefully you're also receiving downloads and ideas of how to start thinking differently, how to hopefully giving you some shortcuts on how to take a leap of faith into 2021 with so much fierce boldness and self-love and a really new way of approaching life, particularly through your relationship with yourself, relationship with, and of course that moves into health and spirituality, that moves into your intimate relationships. Of course, that's what we're going to really focus on today, and money.
Yeah, and I think what really helped us out a lot was laying the foundation. So late in 2019, when we were able to travel, we went to Mexico for a couples retreat, and it was an amazing experience for both of us, and we were able to really see where we were being motivated and what things that we were pursuing, and out of it came. We had basically a vision board, but it's a whole bunch of words that we've created, Alignment 2020. Mm-hmm. So we're looking at it right now, and there's maybe 50, 60 different words on there, probably maybe even more. And these are all things that we wanted to create in 2020. And looking at it now, reviewing it, I think we have for the most part.
So let me just kind of lay this out. We have had the best year we've ever had in 2020. So, and then we'll reverse this so that people can see like what some practical strategies are. Okay, so health-wise, body-wise, we are, Dan, you're 41. And I'm 39. He's laughing.
On yesterday on Facebook, she put a post saying that I was 43, oops. And then she erased it, put 42. I'm like, hello, how long have we been married? I'm 41. So
apparently I lost track when we get past the 40s. It's like, whatever. But we are in literally the best physique shape of our lives. I think I'm in better shape than I am when I was 20. And you are too, definitely. We inside and out. We're really fit. We're strong. We're healthy. This is like literally something that we have we really preach about.
Prioritized it
health
too,
is
right?
Wealth. Yeah.
Yeah. Body before business is a term that Roz always says. You got to make sure that you take care of yourself physically as well. You can't just sit behind your computer all day and expect you to have expect you to feel the energy in your body that you need to survive on.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. And then business, like this has been the best year yet. Like I continue to expand my income, impact, and influence, and it's been so much fun doing so. And honey, you've had an amazing, incredible year as well, despite COVID. So the other piece that really was important for us was spirituality. Now, I'm way more woo than my husband, who is, again, a financial planner and operates more with his
left brain.
Yeah. And so we're going to share a little bit later how, because you have really tuned in and leaned in more into your intuition, hun.
I've never been opposed to the woo side, but I've always been open to it to see where it leads me, and I'm embracing it a bit more for sure.
Yeah, with there's still like resistance sometimes.
I would say a cautious approach, or
Yeah, we'll talk more about that in detail. And then family, our biggest challenge, I would say, is parenting and finding that balance, quote unquote, because I don't believe in balance, but that flow between work life, home life, and really, we are dedicated parents. We really do try our best to raise our boys, who are 6 and 8 right now, to be future conscious leaders in however that unfolds. And that's really important to us. And then contribution. I'm really proud of you, honey. Like in Dan's company, in 2018, he was awarded the Humanitarian Award for his commitment and dedication to create community amongst his colleagues and to serve in charities and good causes. And Dan continues on this path. His heart is so huge. And I fall in love all over with you again, honey, just knowing how much you care about people and how much you really, that's so important, and you prioritize that. And I do see that came from your parents.
Yeah, for sure. And, it's something related to the previous point, family. It's something we want to relate to our kids as well, too, that giving back to others who are either less fortunate or who just need a helping hand is a part of who we are, right? It's so vitally important.
Yes. And then for myself, 10% of proceeds in my business go to support charities and causes that touch our hearts as well. So this is something that we really, really love to share. And we, really have these kind of conversations even with our kids. It's really important.
Can I throw in a quick joke here?
Yeah, you bet.
Okay. So I authentically do like to contribute to charities and whatnot. However, I have to remind people sometimes jokingly that have you won an award for being a good person? I have, right? So that's just a little tease, but yeah.
Okay, but as we are celebrating our 2020 success, like I shared, it has not been an easy uphill battle, what do you call it, success. It has not been easy flow is what I'm trying to say.
There's been bumps along the way as we've all experienced this year.
And what we're going to do is we're going to tell you about some of those bumps and help you see how we really had to shift our own beliefs and really work together and co-create so that we could achieve these results in our lives. So we're going to go into commercial. When we come back, we're going to continue jamming.
A conscious lifestyle for a mindful life. OMTimes Radio. IOM-FM. Being a radio host on IOM-FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. OMTimes Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single OMTimes endeavor. Host your show with OMTimes Radio Network.
Life is a flow, and enlightenment is simply harmonizing with the way life really is. Then you find that life is effortless, benevolent, and free of all suffering. Hey everyone, this is GP Walsh, and I want to invite you to my brand new radio show that's launching right here on OMTimes Radio called The Flow of Enlightenment. I've been a spiritual teacher for decades, and my greatest pleasure is being able to share with you these deep and highly practical spiritual ideas. So join me in The Flow every Tuesday at 1 p.m. Eastern, and let yourself be transformed.
I'm so not good enough.
Fail.
They'll judge me.
I'm afraid
others
it's
are doing
already
it.
been done.
Who are you not to fully express who you are, to be your warrior of light and do business from your fierce, aligned energy? I'm Rosalyn Fung, host of Activate Your Soulgasmic Business here on OMTimes Radio. Let's get your business turned on to the next level. I invite you to hop on a business soul alignment discovery call with me at rosalynfung.com and let's monetize in your soul mission. Go to ROSALYNF as in fun, UNG.com.
A social distancing tip.
Putting distance between yourself and others is critical to slowing the spread of coronavirus. So here are ways to stay in contact without the physical contact part. Call, send a text, set up a video conference, post on social media, dedicate a song on the radio. If you have symptoms of fever, dry cough, and shortness of breath, call your healthcare provider before going to their office. For more info, visit coronavirus.gov.
Let's all do our part, because we're all #alone together. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Okay, hello, welcome back. All right, so like we shared, we want to walk you through some practical action steps so that you can start 2021 with a really clear path so that you can create an epic 2021. What's really important is that you get really clear about your why, your purpose, your mission. So if you've been listening to my podcast for a while, you know that my mission is to help people really be, do, have, right? Be who you are, fully expressed, so that you can do and create life and business from this place of who you authentically are and have all that you desire. And that's because our purpose comes from our pain. And my pain was I used to unconsciously operate from this belief that I'm valued in my doingness. So my performance, my achievements, my successes, what society would see as success, right? How much money you have, the status, all that, versus my beingness. So I was valued in my doingness rather than my beingness, who I am. And my doingness never felt enough. So no wonder I was an overachiever. I was a perfectionist. I was very, very masculine and hardcore type A personality. So when I realized I had become like really operating from this place of performance and equaling that to my self-worth, I really had to do a lot of inner work to shift the belief. And so now I do my best to operate from be, do, have. So getting really clear about your why is really important, so that your why, by the way, is not just specific to your business. It applies to every part of your life. It drives you. It's your fuel to your fire. So do you want to share your why, Hun?
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. And one thing I wanted to add in is actually my company, IG Wealth. We had Simon Sinek be one of our guest speakers at one of our main virtual events. And of course, he speaks prominently about knowing your why, right? And my why came from my own personal history with my family. My parents were a little bit older when they had me because my mom used to be a nun, my dad used to be a priest.
You'll have to tune into the earlier episodes to hear about that one.
And then they wanted to have kids, so my mom was 40, my dad was 47 when I was born. So by the time that they retired and kind of entered that phase of life, they were pretty old. And I was kind of just understanding about how all this worked. But now if I look back to what they did in their retirement and with their finances, I know that I could have made a profound impact on their life, a profound positive impact on their life, just by making a few small tweaks to how they manage money, to the mindset they had around money. My dad was basically ignorant. He didn't have to know much about money, and he made some pretty poor choices. My mom had a mentality of being a poor farm girl. She was the daughter of German immigrants who came here after World War II, and all they knew about money was just you work your butt off. The sweat of your brow is the only way to make money. And aside from that, you don't talk about money. Money was an evil thing to talk about. So with that mentality and that ignorance, my parents made some pretty poor decisions. I mean, they weren't poor by any stretch of the imagination. However, they could have had a much more abundant life going forward. And then also, my sister has an interesting story too, where she resisted certain recommendations I gave her, and they ended up hurting her in the long run, hurting her and her family. So because of her own personal beliefs. So it's through my own personal experiences that motivates me to do what I do. And that is my why.
Okay, beautiful. So you want to share a little bit more about just the importance of...
About my sister?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. So my sister, when I started in my career as a financial planner, I talked about life insurance. And when everyone hears about life insurance, they say, blah, this is boring. I don't need that, whatever the case is, right? There's a lot of resistance to it. However, unfortunately, my sister passed away at the age of 40 with a husband and with a daughter who was 10 years old at the time. So because she passed away and because my sister was resistant to life insurance, she left barely anything to her husband and her daughter, right? Putting them in a pretty tough spot. And, you know, I talking to family about issues like death and money is difficult, but it is also so vitally important. If I could have got her to pay $20 for a life insurance policy, it could have made a significant difference in her daughter's life, right? And so when I hear resistance from my clients about life insurance and they say, I don't need that, I'm not going to die. Well, I think we all know people in their 20s, 30s, and 40s, and at any age, who have passed away prematurely and suddenly too. So life insurance is a vital aspect to your financial plan.
And so I want, like, it goes to the point that what we choose to do right now in this moment today will impact our next 6 months, our year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 30 years from now, like what we choose right now. And so this is why Dan and I are so freaking passionate about waking people up, like waking them up so that they can be connected with their highest self and make decisions that are aligned for them. And here's the thing, when it comes to money, we don't know what we don't know. We didn't grow up and go to school, and schools don't teach us about how to be in relationships with money. Where do we learn it? We learn it from usually our parents, our families. We watch things, and most of us, I think it's safe to say, did not grow up feeling like it's safe to have a good relationship with money, or that we can have a good relationship with money. We have a lot of shit around money, and there's a lot of money shame, and no wonder we have money blocks, and no wonder we have a hard time manifesting money, right? Just in general, like collective, people are so uncomfortable talking about money. We're uncomfortable asking how much other people make, and it's just like this total taboo topic. But money is something that we must deal with every day. And it's not going to go away because we do live in a world where currency is the driving force. And, you know, some of you may feel like that's unfortunate, and we can all have our opinions around that, but it's the facts, right? And so we don't have control over that. What we do have control over is that we can choose to have a healthy, safe, sacred relationship with money. And I mean, we can apply that to our health. Health is wealth. I mean, what good are we going to be if we're not in our fullest, healthiest, vibrant bodies? You know, God gave us these bodies so that we could be living in our life purpose. And it's really important that we can choose to take care of our bodies inside and out. I could also say the same about relationships. We can choose to have, in this case, I want to talk about intimate relationships, right? We can choose to have sexy, soulful, sacred, passionate, hot, sexual relationship with our partners. But how many of us are actually living in such a partnership? There's so many times that, you know, pre-COVID, when we see couples go to restaurants, they're on their phones. They're not even talking to each other. You can tell who's on their first date and who's been maybe married for too long and they've been taking each other for granted.
They're coasting at that point.
Yeah.
Right? And it's not only in couples, it's family members too. You know, I saw a mom and a daughter in the exact same situation. The mom was trying to engage the daughter was not having any of it. Her phone was more important, right? And it's unfortunate. However, it's true in some situations. So finding new ways to connect with your loved ones, about finances, about relationship, about spirituality, that's helped us in 2020 for sure. That's been a big foundation of why 2020 has been a fantastic year for us.
Yes. So I'm going to go back to what Dan was saying before commercial, which was what we did for ourselves. And I really would like to invite you to do the same exercise. It's been very powerful. So we took a huge piece of paper, like big mural paper.
Poster size paper, yeah.
Yeah. And basically just brain dumped all the words that came to us that we wanted to be embodied in, be, so that we could start to do the things that would help us be from that place, right? Operate from the be first. So we call this Alignment 2020, and we're actually staring at it right now. We have it in front of us, and we usually have it somewhere in our bedroom. And so all these words, like, we can read some out. Passion,
accomplished,
free,
fulfilled,
evolving,
together,
fulfilled,
energy,
joyful,
abundant,
sexy,
focused,
wealthy,
relaxed,
changing lives,
silly,
awaken,
multiply,
tantric,
happy,
activate,
divinely guided,
value driven,
healthy,
playful,
imaginative,
unstoppable.
growth.
You get the point.
There's about 50, 60, 70 words on there.
Yeah, so we took a good hour to really feel into this, got ourselves really in a beautiful space through just quieting down, through breath, through meditation, and then really visioned out how we want to feel, right? It doesn't matter. The mechanics of how we create this in our life, these feelings of being, it doesn't matter. What matters is that we embody it, because your body cannot tell the difference between thinking about something versus being there. So we need to start with our imagination. We need to start with getting clarity about how we want to be and feel. Once we are really clear about that, now, and this is, I think, one of the biggest lessons of this year, is now, and again, the mechanics do not matter. Once you're really clear about how you want to be, it just organically starts to unfold so that we are manifesting exactly how we want to be.
It grows organically. Yeah.
Absolutely. So from there, I think we can talk about it. We've been together for 18 years, and we are seen as a power couple. And for us, it's like, and those of you who have been with your spouse for a long time, a lot of us are best friends. We are really, really comfortable with each other. We have shown all parts of each other. I don't get it when couples don't fart in front of each other, by the way. I don't get it. I'm like, what? I know it's not that sexy, but I'm like, I am not holding this one in.
It's all part of who we are. It's honest, right? And you take the good and the bad and everything else in between. But it's who we are.
Also, as Esther Perel, who is the author of The State of Affairs, she's a psychotherapist who studies couples of all types of relationships, from monogamy to ethically non-monogamous, polyamorous, whatever that looks like, open relationships. I love her work so much. If you guys haven't heard of her, please do watch her YouTube videos, Esther Perel, or read her books. They're incredible. You learn so much about the heart and the and relationships. And she really uses that lens. But she, I forgot my point actually as I'm talking about her, because I'm loving her so much. What were we just talking about?
We're talking about, sorry, I'm looking at the word board.
Oh, yes, this is what I was going to say. So, it's all about be, do, have. And so, expanding our minds and looking at there's all these different types of relationships. Oh, yes, this is what she says, when it comes to keeping that sexual energy alive, a lot of times people go outside of their marriage And absolutely, I love this book because there was absolutely no judgment. She really looks at it from all different angles with such loving kindness and understanding, compassion. And so when we go outside of our marriage in the terms of an affair, what often is happening is because we've lost that sense of mystery in our relationship. It's like we get these mixed messages, and in society, we're expected that our one person is going to be everything do for us. And if you think about it, how can our one person be everything for us? That's a lot of freaking pressure. And so I feel like some of the beliefs around society right now are really not allowing couples to explore and express truly their deepest desires and their passions, because it does take a lot of vulnerability to express that. And so when we don't feel truly safe and vulnerable, often people will keep it inside. People make assumptions a lot. That was one of our lessons too, was like, based on history of our relationship, I'm going to make the assumption, and it's happened so unconsciously. So then we act in according to that assumption, whether it's true or not true, or we forget to check in. That was really important. I'm going to continue this point after commercial because I really feel like this is so important. We're getting to some juicy stuff here.
Free your mind. Expand your soul. OMTimes Radio. IOM-FM.
OMTimes magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. Connect at OMTimes.com. OMTimes, creating a more conscious lifestyle.
Grab a cup of tea or a glass of wine and tune in for Inspired Conversations with publisher Linda Joy on Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Eastern. Linda creates sacred space for leading female luminaries, empowering authors, heart-centered female entrepreneurs, coaches, and healers. A soulful venue where guests openly share the fears and obstacles they've overcome, wisdom and lessons learned, and the personal journey that led them to the transformational work they do in the world. Inspired Conversations to empower you on your path to authentic, soulful living.
Melissa from Michigan. I work an extra part-time job serving lunch at my child's school, but I still can't afford to put food on our table.
Daniel from California. Choosing whether to pay the rent or pay to fix the car to get to work doesn't leave us with much at all. Now we can't even pay for meals.
Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
All right, welcome back. So I was at a juicy point where it's trying to find this balance between being really intimately connected and safe and secure in your relationship, but then also it's almost like this contradictory, like how do we keep some mysticism and some surprises and spontaneity and adventure in your significant relationship. And so that is really the call. And, there's no right or wrong way because there's all types of relationships. And so that was something that Dan and I have been really exploring this past, I'll say few years, just okay, we're really expanding our knowledge, we're really expanding our minds. And so how do we want to be? how do we want to be in our relationship? So this is something, and we practice what we preach. So we have an amazing coach we've been working with for the last 5 years. And she's the highest level of relationship. Her name's Rayanne Woodchatz, and love her so much.
She's fantastic.
She's also my shaman mentor as well. And so she, is really helping us like, well, how do we want to be in your relationship? And so it was like a good reminder, because this was recently, probably like 2 months ago, where we got clear, like, okay, let's come back to be aligned. How do we want to be? We want to be spontaneous. We want to be sexual, passionate, adventurous. Feel like there's like that new feeling. Because let's face it, with like, we can lose our sense of relationship when we're wearing our other hats as parents, as business owners, as whatever else is going on in our life. And it makes it really challenging. Sometimes we take each other for granted, I think.
Yeah, and in any type of relationship, a lot of people are seeking security, but it also often comes at the cost of spontaneity and surprise, right? So we're looking to find ways, how do we feel that fun?
Mm-hmm.
Right? We have a fun relationship, but how do we encourage that to come out in new ways?
Right. And so as we were exploring with our coach, we're like, okay, well, let's get clear about the B, because the mechanics don't matter so much. We don't have to get stuck in one way of doing then. And so we're like, all right, okay, yeah, good reminder of my own mission. So let's figure out how we want to be. And then we got to brainstorm all these ways in how we could, quote unquote, do to honor our being. And so some of those were like role playing. I have to admit, you're not the most romantic man. He's not.
I have bits and spurts of it, but for the most part, not so much.
Yeah. And I do like to be romanced, but, one of the things that you recently did, which totally just swept me away, was I was going for a massage, and he's like, hey, on your way back, can you just pick something up for me? I'm like, sure. I didn't know what he was asking me to pick up. And I was like, where am I going? And he just gave me an address, but didn't tell me where I was going. And then, do you want to share this part?
So it was complete mystery to her. Anyway, she went to this address. She's like, what is this place? I'm like, well, it's a store. So she goes in there. And what I had done, it's a friend of mine who owns a store. And I said, hey,
Diverse boutique.
In St. Albert, right by Edmonton. I had picked out online a few items that I thought, a few items of clothing that she would love, right? And then usually got about a 10% hit rate when it comes to shopping for my wife.
You guys need to go look at my highlights on my Instagram under Wifey Life. You will crack up, because there's like reels of Dan buying me like clothes for whatever it was, my birthday. Oh my God, it was such a disaster, you guys.
I tried to do something a little different. Here, the spontaneity doesn't always work, right? But
it's a good story. Yeah. It was a good laugh. You guys have to go check it out. Bold, Sexy Warrior under Wifey Highlights.
Give me kudos for the attempt anyways, right? So I told Ross to go to the store, and there were some items pre-picked out for her, and she was like, oh my God, this is a bit of a surprise for her, because that's something I typically don't do. Anyways, she turned it into a little bit of a spontaneous shopping trip, as she really enjoys. And I got some brownie points for that. Yeah,
so good. I definitely really lit a fire in my root chakra.
And I think that the whole premise of it, just to do something out of the norm, something that's not expected, something that's not normal, I think kind of shows, hey, I still want to impress you, right? Mm-hmm. And just to take that little bit extra energy and attempt and put it into something that's going to kind of pique your interest a little bit. I think that it goes a long way.
It does.
Guys, and women too, do something that's not in the norm so much, it goes a long way.
That keeps the surprise element in your relationship, and I love that. So definitely brownie points and more of that, please. More of that, please.
More shopping.
And we also have a huge chalkboard vision board in our room. And those of you who might have seen it on my social media, we have all the areas of the life wheel: body, business, family, contribution, finances, etc., on there. And we have a column for in progress, so we want to create the goals, and then we have a column for complete, and then we have a column for like the whole year, just the energy we want. And truth be told, I mean, we're not perfect, and we don't review it every single month. We do our best to, but I do look at it pretty much every day to remind myself, like, who am I becoming? What are my goals? And I know you said you brush your teeth and you're just staring at it. And one of the things that you have on there, which is so cute, under the, how you want to be, is flirt more with me.
Yeah. Sometimes you just need a little reminder, like, oh yeah, this is my priority, so you don't get stuck into your daily routines. For me to be more assertive, that's something that's important to me. Not aggressive, but assertive, right? Mm-hmm. That's important for me. Yes, flirt with my wife. My wife gets a lot of enjoyment out of that, right? So just a little reminder every once in a while, like, oh yeah, that's what I committed to. And
it might seem like it's obvious, but it's not. Like, I love you, honey, but you have no game. So he was really shy when we met. We were both really shy. And so it's not natural. Like, Dan doesn't naturally have a flirty personality. He has a playful personality, but that's really different than flirty. If you were to meet Dan, he's really loves his dad cheesy jokes, which is not the same as flirty and sexy.
Yeah. Kids and dogs love me because I'm playful. But in terms of the ladies, no. I am married. That's right.
But that doesn't matter. Okay. Well, here's the thing. Oh, man, we need to talk about. We could talk about for like time. 2 hours. Seriously, because we had also touched on spirituality, and that's something I'm really proud of you, honey. You've been really working on trusting your own intuition more. There's been lots of synchronicities that you've been witnessing, I've been going through, that cannot be explained other than it's a miracle. It's universe and it's energy that's coming together to support me in being more aligned with my next level version of myself. And those things, it's almost like you can't explain away that have happened. And we can't go into details right now for the sake of time, but like that, there's so many things that I'm really curious for you. How has this supported you to believing more in your relationship with God, with faith?
Yeah, it's interesting when we look at our board. Spirituality, I put pretty low on the priorities. However, in talking with our coach, Rayanne, just learning that, embracing my own personal spirituality, I think is something that's lacking in my own life. So listening to Roz and her beliefs, and like she said, things that cannot be explained by the left brain. How is that possible, right? So there must be some bigger cause, some other entity out there of some kind that's directing people's energies and people's lives, right? There's so much beyond science, right?
And you grew up in a religious home.
Did, yeah.
You do believe in God. We both went to Catholic schools. So it's not that you don't believe in God, but it sounds like, you're reconnecting with God. You're more open to feeling into the possibilities of energy and how it works for you and with you. And I really noticed you also changing your language, where I'm like, did you just say vibes? Did you just say intuition? I'm like, oh my goodness, now I'm getting turned on.
Is that all it takes?
It's a huge part, and the other practical thing that we'd like to make sure that you that we leave you with is have those of you who are in a significant relationship, have rituals that really connect you. So in our money manifesting workshop, we're going to share some of those money rituals to connect with for yourself as an individual, but then also how do you do that in relationship? So we have those rituals. You guys got to come and play. It's going to be such a freaking incredible workshop. But, on a personal level as well, just one thing we do every day is we shower together. That's like water is very activating for me. It's also very cleansing energetically. So even if I take 2 showers a day. So, even though, I don't need to wash my body sort of thing, I know energetically I do because I'm taking on so much during the day and it just, it's amazing. But we do that together and it's very, sometimes it's very hot and passionate and sexy. Use your imagination. Other times it's just like literally we're having downloads and we're like getting so excited about even like talking about this podcast or Pleasure in the Bedroom Bank, our money manifesting workshop, our kids, our dreams, like our travels, our adventures. And we love doing that in the shower.
Yeah, I love it. It's a way to connect. It's a way to bond and it's a fun activity. And my wife is naked too. So
yeah. Love it. I love being naked. So hopefully, you listening to our stories, again, I feel like we barely scratch the surface. Like, I'm like, we had a whole script plot. No, it was not scripted, but we have a little bit of an outline so we know what the heck we're going to talk about. Hopefully that you listening to us having this conversation, you are receiving some downloads, some ideas, some takeaways to implement, because knowledge is not power. It's about applying that knowledge that makes it powerful.
Take action.
Breathe life into it. Hopefully that you have some new action. And I'd love to just guide you right now into a short meditation to anchor this with a light language activation so that it opens up more soul codes for you. So whatever you felt, just like, wow, ahas, the takeaways, whatever that is from this episode, I invite you to just feel into it right now. Notice the sensations in your body. You can start to close your eyes or have a soft gaze, taking a breath in, and then just breathing out whatever doesn't serve or support, any heaviness, any tension, any resistance. And just feeling into the possibilities. Feeling that takeaway, moving into possibilities for you for 2021, whether that's of calling in more clients, calling in more money, calling in more sacred, intimate, sexy relationship with your spouse, or attracting your soulmate, your partner, your person. Or speaking, having the courage to be even more vulnerable, speak your truth, no matter how scary it is, with your significant other. Taking the risk to be vulnerable in whatever way life is calling and inviting you to. Feel into the possibilities of what unfolds as you do that. Feel into the possibilities of you showing up and sharing your truth and speaking up and being, as you get more and more courageous to do so, it gets less and less scary. It gets more and more easy. And more flow and alignment is working through you and for you. What used to be hard and challenging and a struggle is no longer. You're opening, expanding. Kora tikira tu kora tuara kira tikira tua. Imagine calling in more abundance in all forms. Kora tikira tu in your health, in your wealth, in your relationships, inner richness. Kora tikira tu kora tia, and reflecting it as results in your life, desired results. Kora tikira tu kora tia. Breathing this in, expanding, breathing into your side body, to your heart space, into the back of your heart. Opening your crown chakra at the top of your head, allowing divine to come in. Breathing in. And breathing out. Beautiful. Just hanging out with your experience, noticing what got activated, noticing what downloads you received, images, colors, sensations. There is no right or wrong, my loves. You are worthy of a freaking abundant life. Breathing one more time. Breathing out. So I'd like to just say thank you so much for listening. I hope that you come and play in our Vision 2021 Manifest Money Workshop. You can go to 2021moneyvision.eventbrite. That's event, BRITE.ca. And sign up for the early bird tickets at $44.44 Canadian before January 8th. We can't wait. If you enjoy this episode, please do leave us a review. I would be so grateful for that. And share this, screenshot it, share your takeaways, and you are worthy. Go out there, play big.
Thank you for having me again. Have a great week, everyone.